Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Dr. Paula Teague, the Senior Director of Spiritual Care and Chaplaincy for Johns Hopkins Health System. I welcome you to this time of remembrance and hope. Today, we honor the experiences of those who have cared for family members during the pandemic, transitioned in work and family, and cared for patients and the community. We will look to the future, inspired by those we have lost, our lessons learned, and the strength and wisdom which has sustained us. We hope that this space will be a time of honoring all that we have experienced, our grief and our struggles, our encouragements and innovations, that we will leave this time lighter and inspired to move forward with strength as the Hopkins community. We will be remembering those who have died. We would like to have your participation to honor your loved ones. Please go to the chat and click on that link to have your loved one remembered in a visual, which we will share. The link will ask for a word, and please enter the name of your loved one in that space. We will also read the names that are placed in the chat. The service is being recorded so that others who are not able to join can view it at a later time. It will be available on the Office of Wellbeing website and through Spiritual Care. Each participant is on mute and off camera, and only our speakers will be visible. My support has graciously provided a counselor who's with us and can be reached through that chat space. Please don't hesitate to reach out for additional support. The service is led today by the chaplains from each of the Johns Hopkins entities. Reverend Sheila McNeil Lee, Director of Spiritual Care at Sibley Memorial Hospital. Reverend Labby Padakamatom, Lead Chaplain at Howard County General Hospital. Chaplain Ty Crow, Director of Spiritual Care at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Reverend Dr. Philip Ridley, Director of Spiritual Care from Suburban. Chaplain Angie White, Staff Chaplain at All Children's. Ann Appides, a harpist and nurse educator, is also with us from Suburban. So with that introduction, I would ask you to take a deep breath. This is a time for remembrance and hope.
We gather to remember. This poem is an adapted version of We Gather to Remember by Nicole McKay. We gather to remember those who could not grow old and those forced to grow old long before their time. We gather to mourn and grieve with one another. All of our losses, the people, the stories, the loved ones, and the futures that could have been. We gather to celebrate those lives who mark their presence in different ways, deep in hearts and lives that it will never fade away. We gather to remember those days of fear, still not sure how we succeeded to survive, and past the days of uncertainty, chaos, and isolations. We gather to acknowledge those dear ones who were too close but still had to distance without choice, and stayed connected in tune of a new normal to find peace. We gather to celebrate the real heroes who dared to walk in the paths of the unknown and remained unshaken, though tired and weary they felt. We gather to cherish those smiles that transformed the deepest dark into the radiant rays, where perseverance led to the new horizon of hope. We gather to acknowledge those unnoticed, but played their role in the ways that are unparalleled, which remain the reason to sustain and move forward. We gather to remember, but not to forget, the fear, the care, the cure, the love, and the grief that brought us together to continue the race with steadfast grace. We gathered to do the hard work of facing the difficult realities of our present and our past, where there is a conflict, violence, war, and hatred. We gather to hold space for silence as we try to make meaning of our history, to help us work for peace and justice today. We gather to rekindle our source of hope for our future by recognizing in one another our shared humanity as we join in a concerted commitment for a better tomorrow. We gather because we need community to do all of this holy work. Thank you.
This is a time for us to pause, a time for us to remember. And if you haven't done so already, please go to the link in the chat and type in the name of the person that you'd like to have remembered. If you especially want this person's name to be read during the service, please also type that person's name in the chat.
We remember. We remember those who have cared for family members during the pandemic.
We remember those who have provided medical care and supported the medical team.
We remember those who have experienced life changes and transitions.
And we remember those who have died during the pandemic.
We will now read the names that have been listed in the chat. We remember Connie McDavid.
We remember Katie Copley.
We remember Alicia Joyner.
We remember Elizabeth Betty Kiesel.
We remember Sandra Moore Amoko.
We remember Jacqueline Fudge.
We remember Anne Nips. We remember Teresa Plax.
We remember Mikey Branner.
We remember Gunnar Dalen.
We remember Christine Shannon.
We remember Rose Adami Nowak.
We remember Joanne Jacobs.
We remember Egan Davis Jr.
We remember Beverly Ganowski.
We remember Selena Tinari.
We remember Michael Footman.
We remember Joanne Jackson.
Remember Robert Park.
We remember Sekahoni Rafibi.
We remember Robert Powell.
We remember Lawrence Davis.
We remember Maureen Fritz.
We remember Rainey Xavier.
We remember Sandy Boyd.
We remember Ricardo De Castro and Mima Mamani.
We remember Mosetta Jones.
We remember Apostle Sandra Hill.
We remember Dahna Rahani Michael.
We remember Larry Olson.
We remember Nathaniel Boyd.
We remember Christina Chan.
We remember Gerhard Rahibin.
We remember Grant Haskins.
We remember Pastor Derek Hart.
We remember Niels Lamont.
We remember Sonny.
We remember Clifton Williams.
We remember Joseph Sassman Jr.
We remember Tom Plunkett.
We remember Anil and Zachariah.
We remember Leah.
And we remember Melody.
We remember Daniel Ryan.
We remember Myth Lily Mura Lidharan.
We remember Joseph Grover.
We remember Antonio Martinez.
We remember Nancy Lucas.
We remember Caitlin Shelley.
We remember Anil George.
We remember Betty Colgrove.
We remember Papa.
We remember Jack Sigmund.
We remember Andrew Lung.
We remember Wayne Sheldon.
We remember Antonio and Maria Parisi.
We remember Raphael.
We remember a grandmother, Manhula Shah.
We remember James Johnson.
We remember Jerome Wiggs.
We remember Brian Shipley.
We remember Dominique Williams.
We remember Don Mout.
We remember Ella Smart.
We remember Donnell Redfear.
We remember Dan Fistera.
We remember Patrick Stellatano.
We remember Sylvia Brooks.
We remember Paul Entelkoffer.
We remember Barclay Thomas.
We remember Tatiana Baritko.
We remember William Valentine.
We remember Leo Forno Carboni.
We remember Bernice Harrington.
We remember Joseph Hales and Geraldine Hales.
We remember Antoine Grobani.
We remember Robert Bond.
We remember Tatiana Baritko.
We remember Maria Zermino.
We remember Dr. Kenneth Kuzan.
We remember Sarah Lowther.
We remember an RN, M. Binging.
We remember Augustina Fontilla.
We remember Patty Roman, Dave and Joanne Fritz.
And we remember Dr. Sudasharan Siva. And today we honor and remember all of those names here. Those that did request their name to be read aloud, and those many other names that are not here and not read, but live in our hearts.
There are two that came in, and so we remember Dwight Galsum, and we remember Robert Ray, and the CQ patients that did not survive COVID. Let us take a moment to remember and to cherish and to carry these souls, great gifts with us into the future.
Good afternoon. I don't take any opportunity to comfort those who are grieving the death of a loved one lightly or as routine. My approach to grief came from the experience that I gained as a Navy chaplain in Iraq with a Marine infantry battalion. It is hard to look an 18-year-old in the eye and answer their questions about life and death with churchy or staid academic responses after the death of one's own. Through prayer and reflection, I developed a philosophy to cope with and inspire myself to administer to the grieving during times of loss. This ministry was not just to conduct official ceremonies, which allowed those who were grieving an opportunity to connect with the divine, but it was to provide pastoral care, engage, comfort those grieving warriors in order to keep them mentally focused on their jobs and their mission. The results of my introspection cultivated my philosophy and source of inspiration when ministering to those who are grieving the loss of a loved one. It's focused on the deceased's overall purpose. Everyone has multiple purposes in life. For many of us at Johns Hopkins, pursuing our purpose has resulted in a good education, titles, positions, status within the community, economic security. However, most of the time, one's purpose is not so obvious. I'm reminded of a passage from a sacred document. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be fulfilled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be sons of God. During the past couple of years, we've had encountered patients, family members, friends, and co-workers who were kind, caring, and were righteous. They brought joy and peace into every situation. There were people in our lives who were merciful, always forgiving, full of love, relationally motivated. They were bridge builders and peacemakers in our lives. They held our immediate and our extended families together. These people were able to bring calm at work. The people whose names were mentioned earlier were righteous, merciful, peacemakers, along with many other characteristics. They were blessed because they fulfilled their purpose in life, however long or short their lives were. The patients, friends, family members, or co-workers who have transitioned from this world into eternity all fulfilled their purpose in life before leaving us. My faith helps me to embrace the concept that we all have purpose in life, and once we achieve our purpose, we eventually transition into eternity. Our legacy lives in the hearts and souls of those left behind forever. My faith allows me to focus on the person and life well lived, mechanism which caused their death. I pray that we never forget the patients who died while in our care, our family, friends, or co-workers who have died. Let's honor them by remembering their lives fulfilled doing their purpose, and let their lives inspire us to live out our purpose as well. May God bless each of you with the inspiration to achieve your purpose and a peace that surpasses all understanding.
Hello, I'm going to play Rise Up.
Loving God, who is called by many names, acknowledge our grief. Write the names of our loved ones and the names of our losses on your heart. Let all who mourn know that the divine weeps with them. Remind us that our spirits are joined to our loved ones eternally. We carry the best of them with us always. Bathe us in your mercy as we struggle to make meaning of our losses. Bless our healthcare providers who have sacrificed so much and continue to sacrifice in order to comfort and heal the sick. And now restore our hope and renew our spirits that we may carry on and be a testimony to those we have lost. Amen. Please stay on Zoom if you would like to join us for a moment of silence as Johns Hopkins Medicine's pauses to commemorate the second anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic promptly at 12:30. Please join us for a minute of silence for inspiration and hope as Johns Hopkins Medicine pauses to commemorate the second anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for attending this service of remembrance and hope. This service has been recorded and will be available through the HOPE website and spiritual care. Thank you.